All right, this is actually episode 7. All right, welcome back to CrawlCast, episode number 7. Today we have a very, very special guest, something that we've talked about more than once on these episodes, about how we like to take care of our veterans, and the off-road community is a ginormous way to do that. So today we have John from the Colorado chapter of Wheelers for the Wounded of Colorado. So, John, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, glad to be here.
So let's just kind of talk about what is Wheelers for the Wounded of Colorado.
So we are a grassroots organization that our mission statement is to take veterans, Purple Heart and combat veterans, pretty much all veterans, off-roading and camping throughout the state of Colorado, to give back. I mean, it's just a way to say thanks.
That's awesome, man. And just because we know you well, you're entering your 5th year. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll celebrate our 4th anniversary. We just celebrated our 4th anniversary in March. So we're on our fifth year.
Awesome. That'll be cool, man.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit of background on you.
Yeah.
So originally from Northern California. Grew up off-roading there. I mean, from literally the Rubicon Trail is in my backyard.
Jealous.
Yeah.
Super jealous.
I mean, my fondest memories is like, going out with my dad and in his old 67 Ford Bronco with 3 on the tree, just traveling around the Sierra Nevadas, just seeing what's out there. Grew up there, graduated high school, went to college, joined the Navy. And Navy took me to Texas through, job transfers and all that. Ended up here in Colorado. Kind of got out of the off-roading for a while. I had a Jeep down in Texas. I had a full truck down there, and Texas wheeling is basically mud, and I hate mud.
I think we all do.
Yeah, it's nasty, especially that mud down there because it's gumbo. It just sticks to everything.
It smells too.
Oh yeah, it's rank. Yeah. So I moved up here and kind of got back into it. I mean, I had my Jeep down there in Texas. I mean, everyone thought it was cool then. It was sitting on 35s with, some jank bumpers and all that stuff. And
There's nothing wrong with 35s. I think we've all went a long way with 35s.
Yeah, I mean, but down there, that was the thing, right? And there was a very few guys that were running anything bigger than 35s, and those guys were just going out, just tearing up mud pits. We got up here and my dad came out to visit me, and we're like, let's go. My dad's really big into mines, so we wanted to go see some mines. So we went and go exploring, and got out there, and I didn't air down. I didn't have a winch on there. Actually, I think I got a winch that day. My dad got here. I think I got pictures of him helping me install it. It's like the first recovery gear. I didn't have anything. And
that's awesome.
Yeah,
the wheeling stories I have with nothing with me.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm stuck. Now what?
Yeah.
Get your winch. I don't have one.
The best is when someone has a winch but no controller.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've been in that situation too. Actually, when we were out in Moab for the Crawl America event, we were on Poison Spider, and on one of those switchbacks as you're kind of climbing up the mesa, Scott Dinger went and tried was it Scott? It was either Scott or John Brownwood. I actually can't remember which one it was.
Jeeps look the same.
Yeah, I think it was actually. I think it was. Well, and either one of them couldn't really get out of their Jeeps all that well. So they went all the way on the inside of that switchback there, and it's it's actually a pretty good climb. And they got bellied out on it, and their controller was in their back seat pocket. Both of them have 2 doors, and both of them have the whole back of their Jeeps packed full of coolers and recovery gear and the missus' purses and stuff like that. And so, I wish I could remember which one it was. They were like, it's just in the seat pocket right behind me.
I think it was Scott.
And nobody could even get there. And I have little hands. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to get this winch controller. What kind of winch do you have? I have a Warren. Anybody else have a Warren winch controller right? we can get?
Can you reach it?
Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, no problem. So I went out wheeling with my dad, and he just had a bunch of suggestions, which just basically, just started the Lego project with my Jeep. And just started building it up. And then my brother actually told me about Wheelers for the Wounded in Colorado, and my dad had kind of mentioned it a little bit. My dad's a 3-tour Vietnam vet, and he'd gone out in California with the Wheelers group out there. I keep cutting out. So I looked up, to see if there was a chapter here, and there happened to be one. So we did a couple of runs where we just raised some money for that other chapter, and the California group had been kind of following this other chapter a little bit. They'd been in existence for about 2 years and hadn't done anything. And so the vice president of the California chapter reached out to me and said, "Hey, we saw that you did this run." I said, he's like, "You consider helping out this person that's running this other organization?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll contact her." So I reached out to her. She came back and said, "We'd love for you to join the board." And I said, "Okay." So here's my list of things. And before you say, "I want you on your board," as most people know, I'm probably a personality. Military comes out quite a bit. And I gave her a list of things that if they could accept those, then I would be happy to join their board. And basically it was, we're basically scrapping what you have and starting from scratch. Never heard from her again.
She was like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah, pretty much. And so I figured it was a dead issue, and it's kind of like, okay, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. I'll just go raise money for veterans organizations and just give them a bunch of money. And California came back and said, "Hey, we just looked, and there's nothing in the bylaws for the national chapter that says we can't have 2 in Colorado." And so I was like, okay. I said, "Well, let me think about it." I talked to Ryan, because Ryan was kind of my running partner at the time, and he's like, "Well, let's give it a go." And I'm like, okay. So I did the paperwork. The other chapter never gotten a 501c3, never done anything, so I set it all up. And basically I think her heart was in the right place, and it just wasn't the right time. And
Right.
I just kind of kicked it off, and I hit the ground running. I don't think that chapter even exists anymore. We didn't even step on any toes or anything, but I'm a go do it kind of guy. So
Sure.
Why not?
yeah, exactly. And it's your decision to shut down or keep going. So,
I either shit or get off the pot.
yeah, that's really what it boiled down to. So yeah, we just hit the ground, and just the first year we went to everything. Every month we were doing a run, taking vets out, going to every meet and greet we could, just getting the word spread out there. And the first year sucked. It was just, we were just learning everything. We didn't know that Forest Service required all this stuff. I did so much illegal stuff, it wasn't even funny. You can find out, it's like, you can't do a trail run and ask for money on a public trail. You have to get a permit. And I didn't know that. So I did my research, found out. And so, yeah, we get a permit for every event that we do, which requires us to carry a buttload of insurance. But yeah, it just kind of took off. And it actually was our second year. It was our first Warriors to Wheelers event that you guys came out to. And we're so appreciative of what you guys did. The video was awesome on it.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's where it kind of started. And we're in this will be our 4th year, our 4th event this year. Changed it up a little bit, but
yeah, I was gonna hit on that. If anybody happened to watch the documentary that we put out a month ago now, maybe. Well, probably by the time you listen to this, probably 2 months ago. You guys are doing a little bit of a different form, and it sounds like you're going to do more of a overlanding style trip.
Yeah, so rock crawling's in our blood and it's in our roots, and we love it. But it does kind of narrow down the number of people that can get involved. So we decided that we're going to do a little bit different this year, and we're going to do an overland style trip and get to a destination, and from there do some cool trails off of that. And that was just to be more inclusive. Quite honestly, we were excluding the Toyota guys because, let's face it, they can't follow.
Except for Tom.
Except for Tom, But, he's got that Toyota, but let's be realistic. The only thing that's a Toyota on that thing is the freaking emblem.
True. Did you see he cut the whole back end of it off and shrugged it in and put that cage in there?
Yeah. I grew up in Northern California, so it was Jeeps and Toyotas. And then, quite honestly, it's exactly the same thing. There's not a Toyota in California that's really a Toyota that's off-road and rock crawling.
Right.
There's nothing. They're running Chevy engines and put 1 tons off of F-150s out there. And, there's very little.
But to be fair, Jeep guys are starting to do that too now.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like Troy.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing in that he's got what?
He's got an
2 feet of frame that's original.
Yeah, 2 feet of frame, an engine, and a transmission.
A dashboard.
Yeah.
Dashboard. I think that's about it on his.
Well, the title.
Yeah, right.
It says Jeep on the title. It's still a Jeep. But no, yeah, I mean, buggies and all that aspect of it, it's definitely, I mean, let's face it, I mean, my Jeep has still got Jeep on it, but there's very little that's left in it other than the motor that's really Jeep anymore.
Right.
I mean, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
And that's what's beauty of Jeeps and off-road in general. I mean, you can just tailor to your custom needs. So, but yeah, to go back to the overland deal is, yeah, we just wanted to be more inclusive. We wanted it to be a little bit less about the rock crawling, because that just scares a lot of people off. There's a lot of vets out there that just don't understand, or they're afraid. And they got my brand new Jeep, I got my brand new JL that I want to go off-roading with it, but I've never done anything like that. So this was a way just to get more people involved. So yeah, that was really it. That was just a big change of focus. But right now we're going to do a year of overlanding and then a year of rock crawling. But just so we didn't bust on all the rock crawlers, I still have to get with Cody. Cody Pace, who's been with us for all these years, he's actually going to host a run that day for us. He's going to go run, I think, Patriot, Independence, and Freedom. Is that the 3 down there?
Liberty.
Yeah. So he's gonna do more of the extreme side of that as for us, and we haven't figured out the logistics on that yet. But yeah, we just didn't want to exclude the rock crawlers guys out there that are hardcore. I mean, anyone that's got a trailer their rig, they're not going to go wheeling through
400 miles of dirt road.
Yeah, pretty much, and bust out their pop tents and do that. So
when I see like more and more, I start to see more of a drastic contrast between the two of them. Basically, is you have the 35-inch tire 4-door Jeep that with the rooftop tent and the whole shebang, that they're kind of overlanders. And now that I think the JK's, I'm not going to say run its course, but since the JK's now been around for 13 years since the first one came out, or 14 years, whatever it's been, you're starting to see more guys move away from the kind of that, real mid-ground build that can do a lot of stuff, that they're like now getting to that more extreme, that they are doing kind of like what you're saying with the Toyota guys. They're doing the 1-ton swaps. They're putting LS motors in them or Hemis in them or whatever, and they're becoming, full body buggies at this point in time. So, but with the JLs and the JTs coming out, you're kind of getting back to where you have a whole new wave of people that are, kind of right. They're in the in-betweeners, I think is what we called them on Fortitude. So like they're the in-betweeners. They can go rock crawling, but they're not going to go, they're not going to go tear up Patriot.
Right.
Or they're going to go tear up their Jeep. But, going to, I don't know. What's
Black Bear Pass or something like that.
Yeah, it might still be fun, but might not like touch all the tingly spots for them, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're kind of in this lull right now. And I think it's great that you're going to try to appease both sides with doing this event the way you're going to do it now.
Yeah. I mean, you've probably seen on our page and a couple other stuff. I mean, I know some other people have coined the phrase, but we've kind of adopted it as the Rocklanders. Guys that want to go hit some trails, like, the way my Jeep's set up, I have an off-road trailer I can pull behind it. So I can go overland, but I can drop that trailer and go run Pritchett Canyon. Right. It's kind of that combination between the two. And that's kind of where we're kind of trying to touch to. I mean, again, our rock crawling is our roots, but again, to get more people involved, we got to adapt a little bit.
Yeah. So the last 3 or 4 years, you guys did Holy Cross. Right. And I know a lot of people that are like, I'm not doing that. I've seen it, not doing it. They think the whole trail is like Cleveland Rock or like the creek, French Creek. You realize that, hey, there's a lot of other easygoing parts on that trail.
Yeah.
So that kind of, the overlanding might bring in some more people to.
And I think Holy Cross is one of those trails that's it's kind of like the Holy Grail for the people that live in Denver. Like, all right, I just did Holy Cross. My wheeling career has got the I'm up the next rung. But then like when you really go do it, you're like, man, there's really
4
4 obstacles if you include Cleveland Rock. And
I blame the Jeep badge of honor.
Yeah.
I blame that system for a lot of the bullshit that goes on.
Yeah, no, I take it one step further than that. There's a video company out there that we all know that when he produced his videos, they made it look like it was the toughest trail in the world. And at the time, somebody's idea of a trail rating in Colorado was a little bit jank, to say the least.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, again, I grew up in Northern California on the con, Fordyce is right there. When you say a 9 or 10, that's my standard. When you say 9 or 10 on the Holy Cross, I'm like,
That's not a 9 or 10.
No, when you see a stock JK, on stock tires up there at Holy Cross City, and you're like, okay, this isn't this, but
Yeah, there's a way.
yeah, there's a way to get there. Now, did they climb up every tough obstacle? No, of course not. But
Yeah, I mean, you go that rock that's kind of in the middle of the trail before you get to French Creek that you basically go up any side of it. I mean, if you skirt all the way around to the right and kind of drive through the bush,
yeah,
that's no big deal.
Right.
And then when you get to French Creek, if you go all the way to the right hand or passenger hand side again for us 4-wheelers out there, you go all the way passenger. The French Creek's not hard. I mean, if you go all the way driver and try to plow through the giant rocks, yeah, it gets pretty tough that way.
Well, even on the driver's side, they took that big boulder out.
Yeah.
The one where you went up on that wall. They
Yeah.
blew that thing apart and pulled it down.
Right. So it's not. I mean, it's kind of funny when I hear people like, "Oh man, you did Holy Cross? How was that?" I'm like, I don't know, 45 minutes top to bottom.
Yeah.
Or bottom to top.
Yep. Turned around and did it again. Yeah.
The only bummer about it is it takes forever to get there.
Yeah, it's a long drive. From
And then once you're done with it, just getting out is kind of a bummer because you're tracking back for almost, it feels like an hour and a half.
right.
There's a one way in and one way out too.
Yeah.
So in the summertime, as soon as it opens, you have traffic after traffic, and you're like, "Hey guys, can we squeeze 5 or 6 Jeeps past you, please?"
Yeah. Actually, I was up there, and this was the first time I met John. I was up there with Bob Jasper.
Yeah.
And you were camping up there the night before, and it was yourself, Bob, I think
Lisa,
and myself. I don't remember.
yeah, I think it's only like 4 or 5 of us.
Frank.
And we got
No.
and we got down to the exit, and we all kind of stopped right there where those like 2 mud puddles are in that kind of like dirt parking lot area. And I'm like, I got to get out of here, guys. Like, I got something going on. And then I was the last one to leave the parking lot where everybody would originally park, just because I wanted to be the first one down the dirt road. Because that dirt road sucks on the way out. And I don't think I had a top, or I think it was only running half doors, no top. So I'm like, I don't want to sit in the back. And
I'm still getting dust out of it.
Yeah, in the dead of summer, it's silty.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Super
it's nasty.
silty.
Yeah.
But it's fun when you're driving. I mean, the first time I went with Weston out on it, this is back when he had El Jefe, he's bawhawing it down there like the Ultra 4 racer that he is. Like, he's like, get out of my way, and it's gone. I was like, I ate so much dust that day. It was ridiculous, but it was like 30 minutes because he was so far ahead of us. But yeah, just keep him. I just kept his pedal down as fast as that 3.8 would go.
Well, that was the second year you were with me, right?
Yep.
And we were hauling ass down there, and you were laughing because you're like, because I had coilovers in the front and regular springs in the coils in the rear.
The rear.
And you're like, the ass is trying to keep up with the front.
It would, like, the front would hit it real good, right? And then the rear would kind of like.
Yeah, we won't talk about the first year.
Yeah.
But that's
It was cold.
But it's still that's still one of my top 5 trails in Colorado.
Oh,
It's still fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though we might talk a little shit about it,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. All this shit is still fun.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, last year we had the moose up at the Holy Cross
that's
City
right.
too.
Yeah.
We had
that was awesome. The first year I left my Jeep at the exit because I popped my rear end, but
oops.
on the stupidest, littlest rock you could actually hit.
Was it ended up being a shaft?
That was
Axle shaft or
the
the
axle
locker?
shaft twisted off completely, and my locker exploded.
Oof.
oh wow.
And I was still able to drive it back to camp
That's
With
good.
no noise.
with no noise. The only-
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I drove it back and didn't disconnect drive lines, nothing. I drove it all the way back, and amazing, because when we pulled it apart at Frank's shop, it was like, oh my God.
That's broken.
Yeah. I was just hoping it was like something simple. No, it was the whole locker just completely exploded. Like pieces. Like, I don't know how I didn't lock it up and torch the ring and pinion and all that, because it was toasted.
Well, it's a good good time to upgrade after something like that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
You're in there anyway.
Yeah.
I just replaced the whole thing. It was faster and cheaper.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it is generally that way, and unfortunately, that's why I get in trouble with Eric all the time because I'm like, well, the
already
steering
out.
gearbox is already bad, so going to PSC, I mean, we're already halfway there. How'd this go from a $400 fix to a $2,000 fix? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Just it happens like that.
Well, Spring Jones, who was on last time,
Mm-hmm.
it was talking this week about getting 40s on a Dana 44. And Doug Langford, shout out to Doug, says, just so you know, before you do that, you're going to have to beef up this, that, the other thing. She's like, well, how much is that going to go? And it's like, might as well just get tons.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time you get different shafts, you truss, you gusset, you sleeve, do gears.
New ball joints.
Yeah, it was
It's going to have new ball joints.
Yeah.
hydro assist for 40s. You
Right.
know, you're already at 1 ton. You know, just buy them anyway.
Yeah.
You're probably not all the way there, but you're close.
Yeah,
You're
it's-
starting to teeter. You're starting to teeter on like, well, what's a better idea? Because yeah, dude, like, I don't know, man. I've spent so much money on my Jeep just doing the same thing over and over and over again. But
Yep.
each time it's an upgrade. But I think to myself, like, well, if I would have just done this at the onset, I would be $5,000 ahead right now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
I've
So-
I've redone the same thing probably 10 times.
Yeah.
Like my wife, like she just stopped asking when stuff shows up at the front door
Yeah.
because I've gone through 4 sets of bumpers.
Erica likes to like throw little jabs in there, like, so when your Jeep's completely put back together, how much do you think it'll be? How much do you think you could sell it for? I can't sell it, honey. I can't. I got way too much money in it. There's no way we're selling it for anything that we can
I kind
at
of
least swallow.
I kind of got the same thing yesterday because I'm finally throwing in the towel and just taking my Jeep to get finished. There's no way I'm going to finish it
Right.
with my timeline. And I tell the wife, and she's like, "Thank God."
Quit dicking around and get it done.
Yeah.
Second year on the running the event up at Holy Cross. You know, my wife takes pictures. She's always out there doing stuff and, you know, getting in your guys' way when you're shooting video. It dropped her off at the first obstacle, and then she jumped in with Ryan, who's always my tail gunner, and we're just driving down the trail. And Ryan told me later back at camp, he's like, "Yeah, your wife asked me how much I have in how much you have in your Jeep," and he's like, "Look, trees."
These leaves are beautiful.
Yeah, look over here.
That's a
Chris.
friend right there.
Yeah, look over here, Chris. See, there's a waterfall. So take a picture of that.
You see that moose over there? Oh, you just missed it.
Yeah,
That's a great friend.
yeah. All the women out there, don't ask your husbands. Just don't.
Unless you want to get lied to.
Yeah, yeah.
I had the same thing almost happen though because I just finished building a gun.
Yeah.
And the barrel was threaded, and
I didn't know Red Rider had threaded barrel.
You gotta
So-
put somebody's eye out with that thing.
so my wife was pretty hip to what's going on in the gun world. You know, she likes to shoot and all that sort of thing. So she sees the threaded barrel on it. She's like, "I thought those were expensive." I was like, "Well, they are." "Well, why did you buy that one?"
Why do you have one then?
And I was like, it was a blem.
Jen, don't watch the rest of this.
I got a really cool wife when it comes to that, because now she's gotten to the point of like, I'll be like, well, I think I want to get this, you know, because that's affordable. She's like, well, what do you really want? Because we've gone through this, buy it, break it, or trade it out and go buy something else, never get your money out of it. She's just like, just stop skimping, trying to save a couple of bucks. What do you really want? I'm like, that. And she's like, then flip and get it.
Right. That's actually Erica. It kind of blew my mind. This was probably like 3 months ago now, because we're still a ways away from going to the tow rig. Unfortunately, I wish we could do it now, but going for the tow rig and a trailer and whatnot. And she was like, "What kind of trailer do you want?" I'm like, "Well," I was like, "I can get a steel frame wood deck trailer for $2,500, brand new." She's like, "Is that what you want though?" And I'm like, "Not really." And she's like, "Well, what do you want?" I was like, "I really like just have an enclosed trailer, so then I can keep tools in there that I can keep locked and this, that, and the other. And it's not going to prevent the whole trailer from getting stolen at some point in time. Hopefully it never does. And she's like, "Then don't." Because she's like, "You're going to want this trailer. Then you're going to wish you had that trailer. Then we're going to go buy it. And then you're going to wish you had that trailer. Then we're going to go buy it. And then ultimately you're just going to end up with the trailer that you wanted at the get-go. So why don't we just save the money and get the right trailer?" And I'm like, that's why I married you.
You're a girl. Yeah, I'm sure we've all had something similar.
Yeah.
you can go from a trailer that's $2,500 to, like last Memorial Day, Labor Day, we went down to Texas and got that gooseneck with the drive over fenders. Same scenario. Wife was like, well, what do you want? I was like, well, this one, it'll do. I got to build some drive over fenders over these jankety ass steel fenders. But she's like, well, why don't you just get one where we won't break it? I'm like, oh, okay.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think of that? What's funny is we don't have these conversations in reverse when they're shopping for bras or shopping for pans or, household items that we don't give a shit about. They don't give a shit about our trailers or our Jeep parts.
No.
Yeah, we stopped having those conversations just for the sake of our marriage. Like stuff,
just get it. Yeah, whatever you need, want, buy it.
Yeah, stuff just shows up at the house, whether it's got my name or her name on it. We just don't ask.
Oh yeah, you told us about the delivery 2 trips.
His mail lady
hates
him.
God, yeah. So my wife got a new job, and so she was celebrating. So she got on some new app that was out there that was like people selling crap, like clothes and stuff like that. And for like 20 days straight, I would get like 10 packages a day would show up at the front door. The record is 17. And our mail lady, she would just stop at the front of the house and she'd just come knock on the door. She's like, hey, John, you want to come help me? It was like that bad. It's like it's pretty bad when you know who your carrier is. And she's like naming your, talking about your wife in the first person, like, oh yeah, how's Christy doing? Yeah, like, oh, she's doing okay. She's got 17 packages today.
Right. She must be doing pretty good.
Yeah. And then my wife went to China. Her sister lived out there for a little bit. And when she came home, I literally had a fort built out of all the boxes of stuff that came out. It was like just ridiculous.
She just shipped stuff back from China.
Yeah. So for her, it's all like, she buys like lots of little things. I buy the big boxes. So we don't talk about what shows up on the front porch anymore, just for the sake of our marriage.
Honey, that one's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I ordered my lockers, I was kind of watching tracking because I'm in a good neighborhood, but I still worry about like porch pirates and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, while I'm at work today, there's going to be 2 boxes that are showing up, but they're showing 70 pounds a piece for shipping weight. So see if the UPS guy or whatever, I don't remember what carrier, will wheel them into the garage for you. And she's like, what did you buy that's 70 pounds a piece? I'm like, don't worry about that part of it. What I'm telling you is, can you just receive the package?
She's like, this box is so small. Why is it so heavy?
Yeah. My UPS guy, he likes to ride side by sides, and so he like stops at the house to deliver stuff, and we'll spend like 20 minutes. So everybody else out in my neighborhood has got their package late. It's all because he's sitting there talking to me about Moab and all this stuff and where are we going this weekend. But yeah, it's pretty bad. We know your mail carrier and your UPS guy by first name.
Yeah.
And your UPS guy's got your phone number.
And someone ordered something that they really, really need, and they're on their phone tracking the UPS guy.
It's 10 stops away. Like, yeah, I
like
do that now.
Is he on lunch or something? What's going on?
Yeah,
He's been there forever.
Hey, this stay-at-home thing sucks, though, because I'm sitting there looking at the tracking going, he's 10 stops away, and I'm at the front door waiting for him to show up so my wife doesn't see the package.
You have to beat her to the door.
Yeah.
Make sure the dog doesn't bark.
Yeah, so luckily she's just like, just whatever. Just get it.
Yeah. That's friggin' great. To change gears a little bit, though, I'll take just a moment here and do a shout out for our sponsors. Big sponsor for all of us sitting at this table currently is Rock Collar Suspension. American-made products, guys. These guys also took a hit through the coronavirus. So please, when you're making your suspension decisions, keep Rock Crawler at the forefront of your mind. Give them a shout.
Also, a big supporter of Wheelers for the Winded of Colorado,
and also a huge supporter of John here. Also, High Beam Off Road for all your off-road lighting needs, whatever they might be. HP Tuners, they came on recently as we announced. So shout out to those guys. Smoking Dave's Barbecue. Almost said the wrong name there. Woo! Smoking Dave's Barbecue. Super good barbecue here in the Denver local area. If you guys are ever in the area and wanting to check it out, make sure to hit him up. And as we mentioned before, Doug Langford from Outlaw Off-Road. So we have a chance to go see Doug here in a couple weeks. And then surprisingly, it's kind of a last minute trip a week later. in two different states. So it should be a really good time. And I'm really looking forward to seeing his new rendition of his JL.
So really quick, I want to send a shout out to the guys at Artec. They left a message for us and said that they're listening all the time because they're grinding and they're welding and they have headphones in, and said, part of their entertainment is us. So shout out to the guys in Artec. Those guys.
Yeah, I think I saw that message.
Yep.
On YouTube or something.
The brown Artec guys.
I think there's only really one brown Artec guy.
That's true. That's true. You have the brown one. You have the one that smells like eggs.
Oh my god!
Eggs.
He wears jorts, and the egg smell comes from the backside of those jorts.
Rough.
A mask will not help you.
No. That's a good group over there, though.
Yeah, all those guys, man. Tom, everyone in the front office, all the guys in the back. Mm-hmm. They're amidst all this coronavirus, they're still sending pallets and pallets of stuff out the door. They posted a picture on Facebook, and I was like, wow, that's still a lot of business amid all this crap that's going on.
Yeah. Well, nobody knew they were going to have like a 2-month Jeep build session coming up, provided by the government.
Yeah, right. By the way, you can't leave your house. Weld some shit.
Hey, Armando, I got my stimulus. I need this.
Yeah,
right. Pretty much.
Mine was like, hey, split rail fence company, I got my stimulus. mine was real exciting.
Yeah, I was gonna say a shout out to Rock Crawler. My rock crawler story is like first time I was on 35s driving my rig out to mow out for the first time, and everyone out there told me that Pritchard Canyon was out of the league for the 35s with a sport with not locked up, and I had a very bad suspension system in my Jeep at the time, and got done doing Pritchard Canyon. I made it through unlocked on 35s, but I got it through to it, and my Jeep was 2 inches lower than when I started. Everything failed, like the springs went. So I got back home, and I think I talked to you, Gabe, and you told me like, hey, call Jeremy up at Rock Crawler, like hooked me up. I got like the full kit delivered in like 3 days, and we put that bad boy in. That Jeep's never ridden better than in its life, but Jeremy's been there for us from the very beginning. So I say, if you guys need support, need a suspension system, get a hold of Rock Crawler. I mean, he's given us stuff to raffle off. He's donated the full suspension that's on the new project rig.
Talk about that really quick.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, so when we started the organization, it was a 5-year plan for us to get a Jeep or something to build up and to give it to let veterans drive it out or to sell it off to help raise money. We lucked out about a year ago, just under a year ago. Actually, it might have been about a year ago. We got Josh Peterson, sergeant in the Air Force. He reached out to us and said, hey, I got this 2008 Jeep Rubicon that's sitting in my garage being neglected, and I'd like to give it to you guys to raffle off, sell, whatever. And we're like, oh, crap, that's a little bit faster than we thought. But it was a great donation to us. So we reached out to all the companies that have been supporting us from the get-go. I mean, the local shops, Trail Jeeps, Bighorn, All Seasons 4x4, the Edge Off 4x4, even Northridge. Reached out to Rock Crawler and just a bunch of other people. I mean, I probably should just read off the whole list of everybody out there. Warren, Factor 55, Spiderwave Shade, iDrive. There's more.
In a nutshell, off-road community came together.
Yeah. Not only just local, but national brands came out and said, hey, what do you need? And so we basically, again, Josh had a great platform. It was already built out, sitting on 40s, a little too big for what we wanted to do with it. So we basically built it back up from the ground up, using all the local companies and the international and the national companies. And it's ready to rock and roll. We actually made it for rock landing, so it can go rock crawl, it can go do Holy Cross, but you can camp when you get up there.
Right.
Yeah.
A rooftop tent on it. Rhino Rack donated a great system for us. But our idea is we go out to these trails and we just toss the keys to a vet and say, it's yours for the weekend. Try to keep the rubber on the, the right side of the Jeep. Just to give them something like, not to say reckless abandon, but, like you said, most of these guys have never driven off-road like this. I mean, this last year when on the event, I tossed my keys to my Jeep, which is always a scary thought.
Right.
to a guy that had never driven off road. He did a little bit the year before. He was out with us. He got to do a couple of obstacles here, but he had never driven a whole trail. And to see the smile on his face and sit there and go, Holy Cross, like everybody said, it's like, oh my God, it's the toughest trail I've ever been on.
Well, Quentin drove the Dodge last year.
Yeah.
And then Jason drove Cody's Jeep this year.
Right.
It was all kinds of fun.
Yeah. It's just it's just so when we can sit there and go, okay, we have a Jeep that's for you, built for you by these fine companies that are awesome. That you can just go have fun in it and don't worry about if you ding it up or scratch it up a little bit. I mean, we'll take care of it. So that was the whole idea. That's the whole concept behind it, the idea behind it. We're so appreciative of everybody that's donated and helped put it on there. And then we did, we had a fender deal kind of fall through on us, and I was trying to figure out a way to get it to make it a little more personalized. So I put out there, said, hey, we're calling all vets. If you've never welded, worked with metal, I don't care if you've never, touched a screwdriver, come on out and come help us. We're going to build some fenders for this thing. And we did. I mean, we lucked out. That was my first time building fenders.
They turned out great too.
I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah.
I know I had some help.
And if you head over to their Facebook page, which is Wheelers for the Wounded of Colorado, you can check it all out, man. I mean, not to promote ourselves, but we were there taking pictures and stuff too. So there's a ton of pictures of what you guys did to build those fenders. And I'm not saying anybody should copy you, but if anybody wants to give a stab at building their own fenders, I mean, you guys did such a great design that is so basic, like there's no trick to it. You guys just built solid fenders that should keep you out of the trees if you.
I think we took it out to try to do some picture. We were going to try to get up to the entrance to Wheeler Lake, and we got snowed in, but we're sitting there by the lake anyways. And I'm standing on top of it. And I'm 200 pounds and I'm jumping up and down on the fenders on this thing, and they're not budging.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that Jeep fenders, they'll cave in everything out there. And I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah. You guys did such a great job on that build.
Shout out to Joshua, by the way. I mean, that's really
huge.
Fucking cool. I mean,
That's a big deal.
Right.
Just to say, here's a Jeep.
Right.
Here's the title. Here's the keys. Have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember because Ryan called me up and he's like, hey, Josh wants to give us a Jeep. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
You're full of shit. Shut up.
And so then I was like, I reached out to Josh and I was like, well, let's get together and talk about this. So like we meet up with some like Fuzzy's Tacos down in Colorado Springs or something like that. And it sits down and I was like, okay, first of all, are you fucking serious?
Yep.
And he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm like saying like, I've had people sit there and go, oh, we'll give you something. And then like 5 minutes later, they're like, no, but that's not going to happen. They never deliver. And Josh is like, I'll sign it fucking right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit. Now it just got serious.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I said, look, what's your vision of this? And his whole vision was basically to build it up and then sell it off to help support the organization, which is our ultimate goal. It's going to eventually be for sale. If anybody wants to buy it, come talk to me now. But I wanted to take it one step further. I wanted to put some vets behind it because I think that's the important part. I wanted to be able to put this. So for the event this year, Jason Pack, who we did the interview with for the documentary, he's gonna drive the rig because he's gonna camp out for that weekend. But that's the whole idea. So we just wanted to take it one step further and say, we've had veterans drive this thing. We've had veterans work on this thing. We built stuff, with veterans in mind. So it's been incredible. Josh, I can't thank him enough. I mean, I'm still in shock, every time I drive by that thing because it's right now sitting in an undisclosed location because my HOA got pissed off that it was sitting in the driveway. They told me I had to take the decals off the side of it and all that stuff. So,
Oh God.
yeah, they're a bunch of, never mind.
Typical HOA.
Yeah, typical HOA. But yeah, so I go by and I go check it out and start it up, and I'll take it and drive it around town for a little bit here and there, just make sure it's going. It's like I said, if any events we got going on, if there's a vet that wants to drive, never driven before, hit me up. Keys are yours for the weekend. We'll take it out there and go have fun with it. But that's just a huge. Josh just kind of floored me with that. And again, we had its 5-year plan. We're just a year ahead, and things are cool. That thing's. I've taken it out, and that thing will wheel. That rock collar suspension is awesome on it. It eats snow like nobody. that's amazing to me. We took it out in the snow, and we were in 3 foot of snow, pushing the bumper, and that thing was just kept on crawling. So it's awesome.
So the one thing that's keeping your organization going is funds from donations.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure you give the website out so people can donate.
So it's funny you said that. So I'm waiting for some information to come out. So we've had to make the last 2.5 years, our donation levels have gone down. And I don't know if that's just a result of the Facebook world where anybody can start a page up and says they're a charity and people give to these organizations or what, but our funds have gone down. And then with this coronavirus this year, we haven't been able to do any events. We've had one this year. So we've had to make some tough choices. And one of them was our website. We got very little traffic on our website. We pretty much do everything through Facebook and Instagram. So we actually just canceled our website because that was, it was a huge expense. It was $1,000 a year to maintain that thing.
Yeah.
So we're trying to cut our cost as much as we can to try to keep, the money going towards where we want to get to. That event every year is our big thing. We're still like trying to figure out if we can fund it. We're going to have it, but we may not be able to give out t-shirts. The swag may not happen just because we just haven't been able to raise money this year. But you can still donate to us. You can go to our Facebook page. You can hit me up on PM and I'll tell you exactly how to do it. I just found out through that PayPal's got this weird little thing where you call the friends and family. We don't have to pay the fee,
right?
Which is huge. And we've had some had some people out there, put us out there as their donation for their birthday party, their birthdays and stuff that through Facebook, which we appreciate every dime we get. It's huge. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. We are so frugal with our dollars and what we do. But it costs money to run the organization. But every time we get a check from one of those Facebook donation things, it's surprising how much they keep.
Yeah.
It's unreal. It's anywhere from 22 to 25% of your dollar.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah, it's huge. I didn't realize it until we had somebody raised like $500 for us, and we got the check, and it was like 400. Yes. And I'm like, we raised 500, and then I started looking through. So all those like donate buttons, like pick your charity. They're for profit. They're not just passing the dollar through.
No,
they're all for profit.
And it's and it's Facebook for sure, man.
Yeah. And I don't blame them. I mean, it's easy for us to do, right? I mean, I've done it. I was like, hey, we did a donation fundraiser to get the rooftop tent for the project rig, and I didn't think anything about it. I mean, we raised like $1,700, and I didn't think about it. I got a check for like $1,350.
Yeah,
and I was like, I just didn't even register with me, and I'm like, finally started looking. I was like, whoa,
maybe we shouldn't do that.
So I mean, we prefer to go through PayPal because it goes right into our account. We don't have to take that money and go do other stuff with it.
Right.
But if you want to donate, please donate.
Right. Well, there's even if you're just doing your normal Amazon shopping, there's Amazon Smile.
Yeah.
And we when we order stuff, that's always how we do it. You guys get a percentage of the kickback from all that.
Yeah. I didn't know about that. Can you tell me a little bit more?
Yeah. So Amazon has
and I shop on Amazon all the time.
It's smile.amazon.com.
Yep.
It's just smile.amazon.com. And you get all the benefits of Amazon and all that. There's no price difference or anything like that. Amazon just pledged they donate a percentage of every dollar spent to your charity of choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
super easy to find. You could type in Wheelers for the Wounded. There's a couple other chapters that come up.
Yeah.
Put the Colorado one in there, and then they get a percentage right into their account.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, people shop on Amazon all the time. I'm probably independently supporting the organization just through my purchases alone. But yeah, we get a check every quarter from them. And it's not like they're matching. It's not like it's, $500 checks, but they're substantial amount of checks, especially when people start doing it. So yeah, smile.amazon.com. You can select your charity. Instead of Amazon.com, bookmark that one. For every time you go in there and log in and buy something, we get a percentage out of it, or your charity of choice. Hopefully it's us, but
it's the same login. as your regular Amazon account.
Yeah, there's
just
no,
smile in front of it.
There's no difference. I mean, there's not a penny difference in pricing, anything like that. It's just Amazon's, and they're a multi-billion-dollar company just said, yeah, we're going to give some money back.
Yeah.
I think they gave like $100 million to charities last year just through, and it doesn't cost you a dime. I mean, you're buying it anyways. So
makes me feel a little bit more warm and fuzzy when I buy junk from.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
It's a great way to sit there and go, but honey, I'm donating to charity.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're going to buy that China bumper off of Amazon, which we don't recommend you do it through smile.amazon.com.
Are they still selling Chinese bumpers?
Oh yeah, dude, it's crap everywhere.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Your Jeep's going to get COVID.
Yeah.
My Jeep's had it for years because it's got a 3.8 liter.
Yeah, mine too. But on the upside, it's only got 65,000 miles.
I just cracked.
That really doesn't matter. It's only 3.8.
Yeah, I just
clock is still ticking.
I just cracked 100,000 miles. So just like the NFL draft, I'm on the clock.
Yeah.
It's almost time to start drafting the new quarterback.
Getting close.
My fancy Pentastar only has like 51,000 on it. So
Hey, there you go.
So I'm ahead of the game, I think, right now. It helps when you don't drive it for a year and a half.
Yeah, same here. But I didn't really drive mine that much anyways. I mean, at the time I was commuting light rail into downtown. So
mine went from like the typical like family adventure SUV that we threw like 285s on or whatever to a non-daily driver within about 10 months. So,
and then it hasn't driven for 10 months.
Well, now it hasn't driven for like a year and a half.
We're all at that point, right? I mean, you got a tow rig. You're looking at a tow rig. I'm looking at a tow rig. We got to the point where we've modified our Jeep so much that we hate driving it down the road, but we love it on the trail.
I almost drove mine here. So the last 3 or 4 days, I put probably 20 hours into, little stuff here, little stuff there. Took it for a rip around the block, and I was like, man, feels pretty good. I got no more check engine light, no more ABS traction control. The fuel gauge works.
Well, it's funny. I kind of hit on that same event earlier, but the Crawl America event. I ended up getting to that event a day late just because of my work schedule. And I drove either my daily driver or my wife's car. I can't remember which one I drove, but I drove it out there, and I made it to Moab in like 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is generally like a 7-hour drive for me and 9 pit stops at gas stations to refill.
I'm either 6 to 7.5 hours, depending on the wind.
Yeah.
If I got
before you or ahead of you or behind you.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm, it's like last time I went out to Moab, I made it out there in like 5.5 hours in the Jeep, and I thought that was awesome. And it took me 8 hours to get back home because it was headwind the whole way.
Right. Yeah.
So there's 2 climbs that you always have to monitor. It's the one to the tunnel and then Vail Pass.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but my engine gets smoking hot. Like it overheats, lights come on.
Limp mode.
Yeah.
Same.
Mine's my transmission. My transmission starts getting hot, and I flip off every truck driver and every minivan because I'll be doing like 85 miles an hour through Vail because I know that climb out of there is a bitch.
Yeah.
And then some jackass Italy like pulls over into the fast lane doing 55 miles an hour. And once you do that, my Jeep's pretty much like
the momentum's done.
Yeah, it's like fuck it. You're doing 30. You're doing 30 to the top, brother.
Yeah. You better put it in 4 low and hit the side.
Oh, I made a mistake.
75,000 RPM.
Yeah, I made a mistake one time. My wife decided she wanted a pop-up trailer, and we were like, okay, we're gonna take the Jeep up to Steamboat, pull in the pop-up trailer. There's truck drivers with like 80,000 pound loads that are passing me. Like I'm doing like 15 miles an hour climbing up the passes. I'm like, this sucks.
Well, we're
sold.
The year that Ryan went with me to your events, year 2, I think it was. We're climbing that pass on the backside, going up to the campground.
Oh yeah,
and it literally went into limp mode when we're climbing this
4th
pass.
gear. Like
it was just screaming.
I was like, what just happened? He's like, it shut off.
I swear to God, like the first time I started following you on Facebook for like the first year, you were just constantly posting. I'm like, anyone else have their Jeep on the limp mode? I pulled out of the driveway today with the limp mode.
Yeah. Well, I figured it out. It was just a TIPM issue. And then I found out that it was an ABS module issue. So I got all that fixed, and now it's just there's a battery drain. So that's all I have to worry about now.
It's just a Jeep issue.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I was cutting brackets back off mine, and I melted part of my wiring harness. So,
Oh no.
yeah. What I'm waiting for though is I'm gonna wait to restart it to figure out what's actually wrong. Because if it's shit I don't need, then I'm not gonna worry about it.
Just leave
Just
it.
cut it.
Well, my right rear tail light doesn't work anymore. No big deal.
I have a feeling
flashlight.
he's going to be calling Michael Phelps.
Yeah,
Dude.
probably.
Dude, that dude is a genius. So
Yeah.
we figured out that
I already know my clock spring is fucked because I had Sean hanging out in there. I was just picking up the garage just like 2 weeks ago, and he was just sitting in the Jeep. And I like look over, and he grabs the steering, no steering on it, grabs the steering wheel and just free spins it. And I'm like, well, that was a clock spring.
you can
My
just
fault.
hear it. Yeah. Is that on the gearbox anymore? Nope. Look, it just keeps going, going.
Oh, well.
Was he doing the wheels on the bus go round and round?
No, he was screaming Jeep at the top of his lungs while he was doing it. Like that high pitched 2-year-old.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, that's why I looked at him because I was like, dude, stop. Oh, yeah, no, really, please stop doing that.
Don't, it's really broke. Never mind. Just keep going.
And baby talk, he's just like, send it.
Oh, well, that'll be another $400 out of the old pocketbook.
Is there a recall? Did you do your recall yet?
No, I haven't.
There you go.
Sold.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah,
I'm so scared to take my Jeep in and get that done. Because every time I'm taking it in, they've reprogrammed my computer.
Oh.
And I have to go like call Super Ships up and be like, hey, I know you did this like 6 months ago, but can you give me another free update and reset?
I don't even know where my flash cal is. I would assume it's in my Jeep somewhere. I haven't even looked for it in a while. So
Glove box check.
yeah, somewhere in my Jeep, I hope.
Yeah. I don't take it back to the dealership at all anymore because every single time I tell them like don't mess with it. Like every time they just plug in and reboot it.
Well, there's a technician service bulletin on your door chime.
Yeah.
That we have to upgrade.
Please don't do that.
The funniest thing was you've seen the bottom of my oil tank. It just looks like Hulk smash, you know?
Oh yeah, your oil pan.
Yeah, oil pan.
Yep.
And every time I go in,
You didn't fix that when you put the skids on?
no, I said,
Oh.
fuck it.
Cool.
I just,
Can't see it now.
it's one less quart I have to put in. Fuck it.
Seriously.
So, I mean, I always took it to them because I was lazy and to change the oil. So every time sir, do you know your oil pan is just demolished? We couldn't get the bolt out. I'm like, well, you have to figure something out.
Yeah. Take the whole pan off. I don't care how you do it.
It's 12 bolts. Pull it off.
Oh man, yeah, I got mine. Actually, I got mine good on middle. The like moments after I almost rolled on middle, I got mine, and I bent my front drive. I didn't know I bent my front drive shaft till I got back on the highway, but I bent my front drive shaft and smashed the shit out of my oil pan, and that thing just like was just barely weeping oil because I climbed underneath there because I knew I didn't have anything protecting my oil pan. And I, heard the massive bang. So I crawled under there, and I'm like, it's just weeping oil. It should get me through the rest of the day and get me home.
Driving home is
That oil.
knock.
Not to rag on you too much, but that oil pan's still on my Jeep too. I do have a new one sitting on the shelf out there, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had that new one for a while.
Well, the biggest thing I have to fix next is, with the motor is the rear seal. It's leaking like
Rear
a
main seal.
Yeah, that thing is leaking like a motherfucker.
That's a Jeep thing.
Yeah. I thought I had to do that. And Frank looked at it and he's like, no, it's not that. It's your upper oil pan seal because you get that spacer in there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay. How long does that take to fix? He's like,
$500 more.
he's like, yeah, we can have it done in an hour. I'm like, really?
I guess I know who I'm going to.
Next oil change.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually the day I closed on my house, I was coming off the main street. I was sitting at the light. And I'm like, man, somebody's burning oil fucking bad. Like that is terrible. And I leave the line, leave the light, and I'm turning into the neighborhood and I I just happen to look back in my side view mirror and there's just like a trail of oil. I'm like, oh, that's fucking me, dude. That's what I thought as I blew out my rear main seal, but on those Penastars with that oil filter housing breaks, and then it runs down the valley off the back of the engine. And so I took it over to Wes to get it fixed. And he's like, oh yeah, man, it's super common. I'm like, dude, I thought this was like transmission out, and I'm trying to figure out how pulling my transmission could lead to an LS swap.
Hey, honey.
So I figured out it'll be cheaper to just put a 6L80 and an LS in it than and to fix this motor.
So
Put a seal on the back of it.
In my previous life, this was back before the Fast and Furious was famous. I used to race street cars in LA. I'm on the freeway, just hauling ass. Me and my friend Pot Scott were just on the 605, just hauling ass, dodging in and out of traffic like crazy. All of a sudden, I smell something like wicked burning. It's not like clutch. And I look in my rear view, and Scott is just back there somewhere. And there's concrete chunks. I saw like a concrete chunk fly up. His whole transmission just fell out.
Oh, that was awesome.
On the freeway.
Someone didn't check the bolts
or something.
Somebody was granny shifting instead of double clutching like they should have been.
Well, and it sucked because he had
Find another way home.
He had one. He had. I know you're familiar with these motors, the rotary motors.
Oh yeah.
He had one of those in an old Datsun.
Oh, that's cool.
So that thing was badass, but
yeah.
Not supposed to be in there.
one of my buddies let me borrow an RX-7 for a while, and it was like I don't know, it was probably like a 86. We'll throw that out there. So I mean, it was like 20 years old.
If he says that's old, I'm gonna fucking kick him.
So anyway, I was like 20 years old at the time that I was driving it or whatever, and he like had straight piped it and done all this stuff, and I can't believe how quick those rotaries are. Just kind of just letting them breathe a little bit without even doing anything else to them.
Yeah, they get there and they stay there pretty quick.
Yeah. But yeah, that was oh man, how many times can you destroy your Jeep and just turn a blind eye to it and just drive it home?
Just turn up the radio.
Yeah, I think that was me in South Dakota. That was just a
my
bad day.
God.
I was like,
you had the roughest day, man.
Boulder. But by the end of that, my tie rod, it would like slowly, and then it was just like beep.
Dude, all day, all I'd hear from Diesel is, "Hey, Adam, can you give me a spot over this?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." And I just hear like fucking Hemi revving up, and I'm like, "Hold on, let me go get Ryan."
Ryan's gonna break.
Hold on a second, Diesel, just stay there. I'll be right back.
Well, you had a hell of a time in Moab for Crawl America too.
With your tire?
Yeah. That was a unfortunate event, and that was really it. So, and that was like the little stuff that we had to fix. Right? We had a single shear PSC clamp.
Fail.
Which is never a good idea.
Yeah.
I hit a rock that I wasn't paying attention to, ripped the steering wheel out of my hand, and I'm like, oh, shit, I broke something. So automatically I was like, I got to get out and look at it. Hold on.
Oh my God, this is going to be an LS swap.
Braden goes, Dad, she sounds hurt. And I'm like, baby, I just can't steer. So I get out and go look at it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not that bad. Take the clamp off. We
Hose clamped it back together.
It was ghetto.
It worked.
Yeah, and the very first day we were out there, Gabe was like, "Hey man, we have 8 days here. You should probably wait to wheel." And I'm like, "Nah, we're gonna go run Cane Creek. We'll see you at lunch, right?" So we get out there. We're running in Cane Puddle because there was no creek.
No creek.
And it was so overgrown, sticks everywhere. And I get down in the creek, rock bed, and go to climb out, and this little stick just right in the sidewall. You're driving, you hear the and I was like, man, what is that? So I stopped, didn't hear anything because it was at the top.
Yeah.
Kept going for a minute, and we get to the next obstacle, and Anthony Adair comes up, or Jonathan Adair comes up, and he's like, hey man, your tire's leaking. I was like, what do you mean it's leaking?
Did you see not to cut you off, did you see the video of them pushing their kids down the stairs in the box? I'm like, fuck yes. We all get stuck at home and real parenting comes back.
She like puts him in there, and then just like gently, you can see he's like, yeah, you're good, go ahead. And then just
dude, I was laughing so hard when I saw that.
It's the equivalent to the early 80s when we used to sit in the back of someone's truck with no seat belts, no seats, nothing, just hanging on for dear life. And they're making a
before it was illegal.
My mother had this like heirloomed like table sitting at the bottom of our stairs, and we used to do sleeping bags down the stairs because like that nylon or whatever or whatever it is. You haul ass down carpeted stairs, like, dude. I busted through that thing, and I'm like picking it up, trying to figure out like where am I gonna hide this table that's now just gonna mysteriously be gone? That's been by the front door. That's my entire life. And as I'm doing it, my mom walks to the front door, and I have like pieces of table in my hand, and I was like, it fell over.
I breathed on it too hard.
Anyway, so your tire.
Yeah. So, I mean, that cut in the sidewall started out like, I don't know, real small.
An inch, maybe.
Yeah. You know, little baby stick, you know, something like that.
Dude,
right in the start.
Dude, never do this to a bunch of guys.
we were trying to like gauge from here to there.
So if anyone's listening, Ryan is like making a little pinching, like
with my fingers.
With his fingers.
Yeah.
And he just called it 7 inches.
Yeah. It's this 18-inch stick.
It's like the fish story, you know, like I caught a fish this big. So anyway, 4 or 5 people had trail patch kits for a tire. We used all of them.
That's awesome.
By the end of the 7 days, there were like 4 different colored patches in that thing. And when it finally went, you know, I cut open the sidewall and I was like, oh, look, it's a rainbow.
So that kind of takes me back because I think it was 2 episodes ago, Diesel was telling us how we're stupid for not having spare tires.
Yeah.
I think it was either last episode or the episode. No, it was the episode before because Spring was on last episode. But anyway, dude, if you're good at plugging tires, you can plug anything on a tire and get yourself home. You know, yep. I'm still a proponent to a spare, and my excuse for not having a spare is because I'm cheap. That's it.
They're heavy and take up room is my excuse.
Yeah, but dude, I got a sweet tire repair kit. I could probably repair like a freaking rubber hole on a boat with what I got.
My dad's a TV repairman. He's got an awesome set of tools.
I got a leather needle and a 150-pound fishing line.
There you go.
You can sew it up.
Yeah.
And you just stuff it full of freaking patches and go. I carry a spare anyways. But I have that for idiots like you who don't carry a spare.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I got a Cane Creek. So my wife will never let me run Cane Creek again. So we ran it in like July, which sucked. There's like not a drop of water in the whole
Same. That's when we did it for Crawl America last year.
So it was the most boring. I mean, Cane Creek without water is boring until you get to Hamburger Hill. Mm-hmm. And it's my first time my daughter had been out wheeling in her little Jeep. She's got a little 2-door on 35s locked in the rear. And we get up there and we're like, okay, you know, Ryan decides that he's going to go around, you know, right-hand side because that's the easy side. And we won't let her climb up because everybody's had to use lockers, and Frank couldn't make it up. His lockers weren't working right. And so my daughter's pissed because she's like, I can make it up that. You know? So we made her go over on the side, and she got kind of turned into a rock and she had to back up. And you know how JKs don't like to stop. Oh, she was about that far, like maybe 6 inches from the edge, following that 400-foot drop. My wife like lost like 15 years of her life. And if you know my daughter, she wheels like she can out wheels most guys. I mean, there's like a few people that won't wheel with me anymore because I let her drive my Jeep or her Jeep, and they're just like, she's not going to do that. And she does it, and they may feel bad because they wussed out. But
they got outwheeled by a 2-door on 35s.
Yeah, and like her expression didn't change. She's like, "What? Like this is like no big deal." Like I remember Tom was like in the back, like he's trying to push the Jeep back onto the trail. he's like total white. I'm like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Why? What's going on?" I'm like, "You almost rolled off the damn."
Put it in neutral for me, okay?
Yeah.
I always love those spotters that get like way overreactive to the situation. Like they're like left, and you're like, I'm trying to fucking turn my wheel, man. Like I'm trying. Or like in that scenario, you're backing up. Stop! You gotta stop. And I'm like, dude, my foot is like, I'm sure you can see the dent on the floorboard from my foot. Like I'm trying to stop. Yeah, I mean, and probably something you dealt with too. But just on the stock master cylinder and on stock brakes on 40-inch tires, man, if I was going backwards and had to stop, it was all neutral. Yeah. Like, especially if I was backing up towards something that could kill me if I went over the edge of. Like, they're like, keep going back. I'm like, hold on, I got to put it back in reverse real quick.
tap it. Well, neutral.
Neutral. Remember on Cleveland Rock, my brakes were shot.
Oh yeah,
they weren't working.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to do it because I know I had to come back down it, and my brakes were just so iffy. And I'm backing off of it, and someone's like, "Pussy!" I was like, "You motherfucker! Now I gotta do it."
The first time I was up there, I really watched a lot of people do Cleveland Rock all at once. Was when Troy went up there for the Crawl magazine shoot.
Yep.
And so I rode up with Troy, and I rode all the way up to the lake back there and whatnot. And the guy was taking a bunch of shots and whatever. And I came back down, And the whole time I can hear Sean Palestrani, or however you pronounce his last name. He's trying to get up it. Like I can hear it, through the woods. And just hammering it on. And then I hear a bunch of cheering. And so I'm like, well, he must have made it up, or we're going to find him rolled over at the bottom.
Or he didn't.
Yeah. So I get up there and Troy with his rig just kind of like just drives off it like he's coming off a curb, And Sean's like, how do I get down this thing? And I was like, I don't know, just go down the middle, I guess. Like, I don't know what the line is, right? I've never spotted anybody up it or down it. I'm just kind of looking at it, and that's where I would go. And everybody starts like, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. Like, shut the fuck up. I only want Adam to spot me. And I'm like, wait, what? Why me, man? I just told you I've never fucking spotted anybody on this obstacle before.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know, keep coming. Do I look good? Like, yeah, keep coming.
Sure.
Just don't go over there.
Yeah.
Stay right here.
So he got down it. He's like, awesome spot, man. I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
Whatever you say.
It worked.
You didn't die, so I guess so.
Rich is shock off, though, in the process, so I guess that's my fault, right? Is it the spotter's fault or the driver's fault?
Driver's fault.
So it was the driver's fault. I always find it interesting, like, you listen to the cheering, like you're saying, there's like, when you have complete success, the cheering is exactly the same way for complete failure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like when the year you guys were up there and Wyatt was standing it up in a spare tire twice.
Yeah.
Right.
I was down at the bottom still talking to some people, and it sounded like, oh man, he must have made it up. And then I saw the video. I'm like, oh shit.
He did not make it.
No, but it was the same cheer no matter what. It was like, yeah.
It's like someone just kicked the game-winning field goal or something.
Exactly. It was like, man, was the Packers just win or something?
That was even like, God, who was it? Oh, it was when, what's that chick's name? Marabella. She was going up, is it called Axel Hill on Pritchett?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she legitimately got like 4 feet of air at the top of that thing. And
She almost hit me.
Yeah. And then slammed into the wall that's at the top of it. And everybody's like, yeah. Like, I was like, hold on, quick. Okay. Everything looks good.
Right.
Yeah. In the video of that, you can see kind of like where the camera just all of a sudden jolts.
Yeah.
That's me jumping out of the fucking way because, I mean, you can hear her horn goes off because she's like so out of control, just throttling it up the fucking thing. Oh, man.
I can't wait.
And now she has a V8.
Yeah, I can't wait to go see her with an LS3 in her Jeep.
Run
Actually, now that I think about it, how many times have I jumped off something on Pritchett Canyon, avoiding getting hit by something?
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Yep. The tactical off-road guys, you jumped off the top of Chewy Hill. Like down 3 flights. I was like, is he going to? Yep, he's jumping.
That's the downfall. Anybody that thinks about getting into off-road film, like just make sure you have good knees, good health insurance, good ankles, because that's what happens.
You have to be really stupid sometimes.
You end up jumping off, something that you wouldn't jump off of if somebody was trying to kill you. But then all of a sudden you mix in a 5,000-pound Jeep that's coming right at you, and you're like, yeah, I'm jumping off this thing because this broken ankle is not going to be that bad.
But I got some really cool video.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh man. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so you guys know where the Goonie Bird is, like headed out towards Metal Masher or whatever.
Gemini Bridges.
Yeah. So you were talking about you bought a pop-up. So we actually bought a pop-up, my wife and I did last summer or the summer before. And it's tiny, man. I think it's like a full size on one side and a twin on the other. I mean, it's a small one, and it was like $150. Like it was like one of those I was on Facebook Marketplace, like, yep, I'm gonna go buy this.
Yeah.
I'll be back. And it works good. I mean, it keeps you off the ground. It's dry, but I actually don't know if anything else on the pop-up works because I haven't tried it, and I don't care to know that it's bad because if it's bad, I'm not going to fix it.
Right.
So I just don't use it. I assume it's good, and my life is hunky-dory in my own mind. But so we go up there, me and my buddy do, and when we left Denver, it was a full-on blizzard. It was like late October, and we were just going to go up there for the weekend or whatever, for 4 days or whatever it was, and I was like, oh, I know we could probably get out there by the Goonie Bird and camp. I don't know if there's actually camping out there, but we'll figure it out when we get there. And dude, it was like the longest trip to Moab ever. My buddy's, he had his rig overheated before we got to that. We actually should have just turned around. It overheated before we got to Evergreen. Should have probably just turned around.
Yeah.
And then something else happened and we ended up having to stop in Vail for a while. And so he could fix something. And then he pulled over real drastically, like right as we were getting to Fruta. And I'm like, and we had just filled up in like Rifle. So I'm like, we don't need to fill up or anything. Like, what's going on? And we pull over and I'm like, hey man, what's going on? He's like, I got this really bad vibration. And so he's like looking at his steering and stuff and kind of crawling around underneath his rig. And I'm like, I'm staring at him doing this. And like the problem is right in front of my face and I don't even notice it. So I'm like, hey man, you only have 2 lug nuts on you. I think that's where and they were backed all the way out. Like,
oh, the tire was like,
yeah. So then like, anyway, so I don't know, dude, we took a couple off each other wheel. And like the threads on the studs were so bad, dude. We just hammered them on there with the impact. We're like, we're gonna have to fix this anyway.
Hey man, cross thread's good as Loctite. It's free.
So we just hammer them on there, whatever, and then we get out there and I guess my mind was a little bit foggy about how far back it is to actually get to the Goonie Bird. And so I'm pulling this little pop up, dude, and it was raining in Moab. So that going up and over the mesa and then down in that valley was just sloppy and like.
Oh man.
3 feet deep of water in spots and stuff like that. I'm just yanking the spot. I'm like, oh, hope this thing holds together because I've owned it for like a week now.
That was a good $150 spent.
At least you'll be off the ground.
Yeah. And so
I don't know about that.
Anyway, I've used it several times since then, so it held together just fine. But man, that was I think it took us probably 10 hours to get to Moab.
Wow.
That go around. It was the longest trip to Moab ever. We left Denver right after work, so 5 p.m, and I think we laid down in camp at like 4 a.m. or something like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a long day.
Because I was thinking, I will be there by 10. By the time we get camp set up, it's 11. We'll be super tired, pass out, but back up at 6, ready to go wheeling for the day.
Wrong. Sounds like the quick trip.
Yeah, it was.
Speaking of the quick trip, we're going to have another quick trip coming up. By the time this comes out, everyone was going to know by the time it comes out. We'll be in Moab for Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
And we'll be there with Rockcrawler. I think Gerald Lee Savvy is going to be there.
Outlaw
is going to be there. God, a lot of people are actually going to be there.
Bunch of crazy fucks from the South.
So,
send it or don't.
So the plan is to
hashtag where's Dumpy.
Right. So the plan is to get out there and immediately wheel again.
Yeah.
Just like last time.
Perfect.
So
remind me to go a day late.
Or water.
Yeah, bring extra water.
Water and food. I mean,
right.
That whole trip would have been better if we just had water and food.
Yeah.
I think everything would have been fine. I
extra
think,
tools would have been nice.
Right.
I think without Troy and Marvin trying to, Baja down Gold Bar Rim to get back to town in time to get parts, neither one of those two would have ever broke down.
Yeah.
Somebody would have just leisurely gone out and got a pump and leisurely came back with the pump. I think
call Sean first. He's in town. Hey man, you
call Sean
pump
first. Yeah. I don't know, man. There's a lot, but I think food and water would have saved us a lot of headache. So, but I'm super excited. And Ryan, thank you so much for opening up your Jeep, because the only way I can make those 2 trips happen back to back was invite my wife to one of them.
Yep, that's it.
I'm like, so honey, what do you think about going to Moab for Memorial Day weekend? Oh, what are we going to do? I'm like, I don't know. We could find some stuff to do. Would you be interested? Yeah, it sounds fun. I'm like, cool. Well, Gabe's going to be there. Ryan's going to be there. So this was already a plan. Like, yeah, I was inviting you to get the yes first before I could commit to anybody else.
It's fucking brilliant, actually.
Yeah. He messages me. He's like, hey, is your family going? I'm like, nah, man, it's just me, because they're going to go to Crawl America this year.
Yeah.
So she used some of her vacation for that. He's like, so we're just gonna make this a deal. We're gonna all ride together. I was like, all right, whatever, dude.
Yeah. I mean, it'll work out. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure Sean and Eric will probably hike a lot. And
whatever.
It don't matter. You're good. You're good. Sean will fall asleep every time I've taken him off roading since he's been born. he's awake for like 10 minutes until you start like kind of rocking back and forth out the rest of the day. He'll wake up and be like, lunchtime? Hell yeah, buddy. I'm hungry too.
Hell yeah, that's your kid.
Yeah. And like, all right, chocolate milk and nap time. Like, cool, man. Here's your chocolate milk.
Yep.
Don't throw up after you chug this thing down and get rocked around a little bit.
Make sure those harnesses are tight.
But anyway, John, well, we really, really appreciate you making the trip over here today to jump on here with us. And anybody, I mean, hit John up, hit us up, stop John, give us cash and we'll make sure it gets to the right place, because we need to make sure we're taking care of our vets and keeping this organization going, because they do tremendous things. And I know John has more passion than just about 90% of the people in the off-road industry. So I'd really like to make sure that we can take care of him and keep him going. So if you can, it's greatly appreciated. $1 helps, 25 cents helps. So hit us up, man. But until next time, hopefully we'll have some new wheeling stories to talk about the next time you guys get to hear from us, with Tennessee just around the corner and then Moab directly after that. Right after. So we'll catch you guys in the near future. Until then, anything else you guys want us to talk about, make sure to comment and like and share and do all that fun stuff. So thank you guys very much, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
See ya.